How are you? Are you doing good? Did you have a good week? So, last week we discussed about anger, the freedom from anger. Today I thought of telling you a small story. A guilty conscience needs no accuser. Do you know the meaning of that? The person who has a guilty conscience is the accuser. He accuses himself. There is no need for an accuser. I'll tell you a story of a mother of two children. I once met this young lady. She had a boy and a girl. And she told me her problem was that she always get this guilty feeling. And I asked her why. She told me that for every single mistake, the smallest mistake that the children do, she shouts at them. She gets so angry and she scolds at them, and then she becomes livid and furious, and she doesn't have any control over that anger, and she shouts and shouts and shouts over and over again. And the two children, they listen to the mother being angry with them, and at the end of it all, she become really calm and quiet, and she can't sleep that night. She's brooding over the mistake that she did, because the children love the mother the same. So then she asked me, why do I do that? How do I get rid of that? Please, can you help? That's what she said. So I thought to myself, anger. We all have this feeling, the remorse, the guilt that comes after the anger. We all know the repercussions, and we all experienced this situation in our lives. So, how to get rid of it? Can we get rid of anger? Can we manage the anger? Last week we discussed about this, that anger needs to be understood. Anger is not something to be managed. It is something to be understood. A wise man once said, our great teacher once said, that when you are angry, it's like you are holding a rein to a chariot, and these horses that are driving this chariot are running really fast off to this cliff at the end of the road, and you are holding the reins. You are the driver, but are you really the driver at that very moment? If you are not in control, then you are not the driver. You are just a person that is holding the rein. What should you do to become the driver? What should you do to avoid that chariot being thrown off that cliff? The bottomless chasm that we call the guilt, remorse, self-loathing, bottomless chasm that you will put yourself through after the anger. If you have ever gone in that seat next to the driver, you might have had this kind of an experience. There is this cat that runs to the road, and the driver is in another mood, and you want to stop the car. So what do? You push the brake so hard, but there is no brake to push. You are trying and trying, but it is an unconscious reaction from the mind to push the brake, but you are not in the driver's seat. That is how you feel when you are angry. You want that words to stop. You want that feeling to stop, but you can't, because you are no longer in control. Like our teacher once said, you are holding the reins, but you are not in control of the chariot. If you want to get the control of the chariot, that is when you become the charioteer. That is when you become the driver of the chariot. Otherwise, you are just holding the reins. And the only path to get hold of these reins is understanding what anger is, understanding how the anger occurs, and try to find the causes behind the anger, and try to find a way to avoid those causes, to remove those causes from occurring, so that the anger would no longer occur. That is the path that we were discussing last week as well. So we discussed that anger occurs because of our ways, because we think that this should happen this way, because we think that this is something that I want and I want it that way. But nothing in this world happens the way that you want. So then frustrations, anger, anxiety, depression occurs. So let's take a good example to understand this anger a little bit more. So I'll take this good example of fire. So this is a fire. This is firewood that you put to get the fire. So what are the causes for this fire? The firewood and the oxygen and the temperature, the fuel, those are the causes that needs to build up the fire. So whenever those causes get aligned in a certain way, the fire occurs. And does it matter whether you like the fire or not? Does it matter whether you want the fire or not? It does not. Because you are not in control of the fire. These causes are in control of the fire. Whenever there is a cause missing, for example, let's put some wet firewood so that we can reduce the temperature, or let's cover it up with a cup or a basket. Will the fire occur? No. It will quench the fire. Why? Because for the fire to occur, there are certain set of causes that needs to get aligned. If any one of those causes are no longer there, then what happens is the fire no longer occurs. There are no causes for the fire to occur. But along with that, we have something else, that is my wanting. Because I want the fire to not occur. Because I don't want the fire anymore. So then, does it really matter what you want? If the firewood, the temperature, and the oxygen are present, does it matter what you want? The same goes for the anger. Anger is a collection of causes. When those causes occur, what happens is this anger manifests. Anger, the feeling manifests. Same as the fire. So when these causes get aligned, you are not in control. You are just that driver that is in the nearby seat of the driver. You are not in control of the car. You are just holding the rein of the chariot. But the horses are running so fast that it will, in a minute, it'll go through that chaos, it'll go through that disaster. But you cannot control, because you are not in control. It's the collection of causes that are in control. When you understand this truth, when we understand this truth, it brings us relief. It brings us relief from remorse, from that guilt, from this self-resentment that we feel afterwards. Because we always think it is my fault. I should have controlled it. I should have stopped it. Why didn't I do that? Why did I do that? Why didn't I do this? These feelings will keep you awake at night. It will take your sleep away. And we sometimes don't know why we can't sleep, why we feel agitated all the time. But it's because of these feelings that bother us. And we are here to tell you this great truth. By telling this truth, you can understand the anger better. And when you understand the anger little by little, with baby steps, of course, we are getting closer to that freedom. The freedom from anger, freedom from that feeling of guilt, remorse. We are getting closer to a good night's sleep, and we are here for you, and we will discuss this furthermore in our next episode. Until then, be safe and take care.